Thank you for taking this free trial of the Zebra Club. I do hope you enjoy this class. We're going to spend some time exploring the underlying principles that make up the Zebra Club and what makes the Zebra Club so special for those of us with ehlers-danlos syndrome, hypermobility and chronic pain. Bear in mind these exercises are specifically designed for these conditions. They are gentle, they're safe, and yet they're very effective. And exercises like these performed regularly are going to give you a very strong, connected and supported body. We look forward to moving with pleasure rather than being afraid of moving because of pain and because of anxiety that often surrounds exercise. So I hope that this class can really give you some enjoyment to take time out for yourself for a few minutes and just really start to explore what your body is capable of, that we don't need to be afraid of movement and that there is potential and hope for all of us to enjoy a physically active life. My integral movement method, which the Zebra Club is founded on, covers the underlying principles of breathing, relaxation, proprioception, joint stability, balance, and posture. So in this class, I'm going to take you through each of those steps for you to experience some very simple and easy to do exercises. You don't need any special equipment, just your body and an eagerness to learn. So why don't we get started with our first exercise, breathing. Now you can do this seated or you may want to lie down. I'm going to lie down, and I think when you're first starting, it's really useful to get comfortable and lie down on the floor. Give yourself as much support as your body needs to really feel comfortable. And why is breath so important? It's our very essence, and breath is going to be part of every exercise that you do going forward. And I don't mean that in a very regimented, constricted way. I mean that getting to know your breath and the impact your breath can have on how you feel and how you're moving is absolutely fundamental to enjoying movement. So let's go ahead and lie down. If you require a cushion or a towel to support your head, please put one in now, and then go ahead and bend your knees. This position is called the relaxation position, and it's probably the most comfortable position for the body because there is no pressure being put on any of the joints. So it's a really nice way to relax at any time. If you're feeling a bit stressed and tired, it gives you that relaxation response that the body is often lacking. Now let's go ahead and close our eyes. So the reason I spend time with all of my clients in working on their breath is because in our busy daily lives, we often don't take time out to even think about our breath or to observe it. We just take it for granted, and yet it has so much to offer, especially for someone who has been in pain for whatever reason. Breath can start the relaxation response in the body, which has been proven to help reduce pain signals from the brain to the body. So if nothing else, getting to know your breath is a great way of helping start to deal and manage with your pain. So all I want you to do is just quietly observe your breath. I don't need you to take a full in breath. I don't need you to try and be perfect. I don't need you to do anything in particular at all apart from quietly watch the breath coming and going from your body. Notice how it makes you feel. Notice if this is a difficult task, whether you're already challenged by quietly sitting or lying for a moment. Notice how busy your mind is. Has your mind already wandered off thinking of other things it should be doing? Can you let your thoughts come to rest on your body? Can you let your mind be drawn to the weight of your body? Notice which parts of your body feel heavier and which parts of your body feel lighter. Are you able to release and let go of any tension that you might still be holding on to? And when we release the tension, the breath can flow even easier. When your mind wanders off, just bring it back to your breath. So retraining the breathing awareness is an essential part for our bodies. It is an instant relaxer and can start to build the proprioception required between the movement of the diaphragm, the lungs, and the rib cage. So it has a physical and a physiological impact on our bodies. We'll do 2 more rounds of breath, just quietly observing, noticing the mind settle on the weight of the body, melting any parts of the body that may still be resistant. And then you're going to go ahead and softly allow the eyes to open if you had them closed, and just come back into the room and just take a moment to stay there. So we don't want to be jumping up and rushing about when we've been lying down. So give your body a chance to gather its senses. So we're now more aware of our breath. The breath helps facilitate movement in the body. So rather than making it disconnected, the breath becomes part of how we move. So we're going to start our moving section now. Feel the weight of your body as you exhale into the floor. Feel the weight of your breath in your back. On the following exhale, as your back and your body become heavier, allow your arms to become light enough to float. Keep the weightiness of your back, and then bring the arms all the way back down. So we're interested in the weight of our back, not the range in which the arms are going. So the minute you feel that your back is no longer heavy and released into the floor, The minute you feel your back is no longer heavy and released into the floor, that's when your range of movement stops. So to give us our stability, we want to maintain that sense of heaviness and release into the floor. We try to move one arm at a time, keeping one side of the rib really heavy. Going from left to right. Keep noticing the weight of your breath, the release of tension, the softness of your jaw. So we'll do 2 more each side. Feel the weight of your shoulders as you lift the arms up. Let your shoulders rest on the back of the mat. See if you can allow the shoulders to stay heavy rather than coming up towards the ears with you. And then we rest the arms down and take them a little bit wider, walking our feet closer together so we feel that connection between our legs and our feet. Turning the palms up to allow the chest to open, we again experience that nice deep inhale. With the out breath, we allow the body to roll to the side, keeping a sense of heaviness across your upper body. Take another breath. And as you exhale, feel the weightiness of the pelvis rolling you back to the ground. The body feels heavier as we go across. The shoulders drop into the floor, taking a breath. Feel the weightiness of your back, of your shoulders, of your pelvis, of your feet as you roll back. So it's not about how far we move, because we want to try and build some control into our movement. We need control. But it's about feeling the weightiness of the body and appreciating the range of movement that you have when you're still in control. One more each side. So allow the body to rest just for a moment. Again, establish that sense of heaviness. And we're going to move on to our next area of proprioception. So proprioception is all about the awareness that we have and that control that we have of the body. So I'd like you to place your hands on your pelvis, and we're going to do a little knee drop exercise, keeping the legs together in that position they were just in. As you exhale, feel the weightiness of your body. Allow one side of the pelvis to become heavy as you allow the other leg to roll out to the side. So it's a smaller version of what you were just doing. As you exhale, lift the leg back up until it meets the other leg. So the pelvis is staying nice and heavy. As you roll out to the side, again, it's not about the range. It's whether I can keep awareness and heaviness through the back of my body. So I roll to the side. The other leg is heavy and stable. The hip is heavy and stable. My breath is in my back. So how far can we move the leg without the pelvis tipping over, without me losing that control? Doesn't matter if it's a very small movement. Range is something we can improve over time. At the moment, we're trying to get a nice degree of control. Coming back to the center, keep the legs together, and again, float the arms up from a sense of heaviness into the back. Now really rest those shoulders into the floor, and we're going to do a similar exercise with the arms. So can I keep my rib cage heavy as I take one arm out to the side? As I exhale, feel the weight of my ribs lifting the arm back up. So we go to the side. It's not about getting to the floor. It's about keeping the contact with the back of the mat. So my feet are heavy, my pelvis is heavy, the back of the shoulders is heavy, my head is heavy. Through the heaviness of the body, we build our own stability. And we'll just try both arms together. Open, feel the weight of your ribs. Exhale, draw them back in. Heavy through the back of the ribs as we open. Heavy through the back of the ribs as we come back. One more time. Feel how heavy the arms are, how heavy the shoulders are as you lower your arms all the way down to the floor. So slowly make your way up from the floor, take your time, and come around into a 4-point kneeling position. We're going to look at joint stability, which is essential for our health of our joints and to start to build strength of all the supporting structures around that joint. When you set yourself up on all fours, start to put the weight down through the outside edge of your wrist, rather than crushing the front of the wrist and hyperextending the elbows. So start to find a little bit of movement around the wrist. So this is an exercise in itself. Just feel the weight drop into the heel of your hand and soften the hand into the floor. A bit like a cat when it sort of settles itself into the, before settling down for sleep, it kind of prods around with its feet. So once you've established that sense of weight through the outside edge of your wrist, the elbows will be much softer. And we're going to go straight into a cat exercise. So we're going to keep the weight dropping into the heel of the hand. And we're going to start to roll the pelvis just a little bit and then uncurl it. So we're keeping the weight dropping into the hands. The elbows are soft, and the pressure of the hands into the floor will help lift the head up away from the floor. So we're just gently moving the pelvis. And now we're going to make it a little bit bigger as I roll a little bit more into my lower back. So you're sort of massaging through your spine, but being very conscious of the weight through the hands. And then we're just going to make it a little bit bigger, and we're going to go through the pelvis, through the lower back and up into the ribs with a small nod of the head. And then we're going to uncurl all the way back. So this is a great exercise for strength as well, upper body strength, as well as mobility of the spine and control of our spinal muscles and joints. Shoulder stabilization and control. And we'll just do one more. And then from this position, just start to move back a little bit. If your knees are happy to go into this position, and take a little break so you can relax your wrists and your shoulders. And just take a little breath. Now see if you can still do that nice breathing exercise where we feel the breath coming into the body and then letting it go. Now to come out of this position, start to feel the weight dropping down through your legs to lift yourself all the way back up into that 4-point kneeling position. Keeping the weight in the outside edge of your wrists. Imagine you have a cup of tea or coffee balanced on the back of your pelvis, so somewhere around here. You can even put a little ball or something on top here if that helps, or a cushion, because that will really help give you a sense of awareness. So with your cup of coffee on your pelvis and the weight dropping through your hands, can we slide one leg out along the floor without spilling my coffee? And then can I come back in? So slow to build that sensitivity of the movement. We're not going to rush because we want to keep that stable pelvis, stable arms. Okay, so if I go too fast, I'll probably spill my coffee. I'll lose awareness of the whole of my body. So the movement method is about the whole body integrating. So I'm not just thinking about my leg. I'm thinking about what everything else is doing as well. Where is my head alignment? Where are my shoulders? What are my elbows doing? There's lots to think about, which makes it very good for our mind-body connections. And we'll make this our last one. And then we'll just tuck our pelvis and take another little stretch back, just to release our back. Take a nice deep breath. Feel the weight into the legs as you come all the way back up. And from here, we're going to start working on some balance. So make your way up to a standing position. And I'd like you to take your legs a little bit wider than your hips. Obviously, if that's comfortable for your hips, so adjust accordingly. So you'll want to have your feet flat on the ground. Again, start to feel that breath coming deep and wide and settling down into the floor. Now notice how stable you feel. So when our legs are wide, we probably feel quite stable. We have a big base of support. But in real life, this isn't very functional because we can't walk down the street like this, and we probably don't stand like this on a regular basis. So how can I train myself to start to get a little bit more functional? So we're going to just slowly walk our feet in a little bit closer and just notice how that feels. So again, can I still feel equal weight through my legs, through my feet? Do I still feel comfortable to breathe nice and deep? And then we come a little bit closer. So I'm pretty much getting closer to hip distance now. When you're hip distance, can you still feel equal weight through both of your feet? And this is pretty much where we want to be standing on a normal basis. But what happens if we bring our feet really close together? So now I've got a very small base of support. So I have less awareness of what's around me, all this support around me. So my center of mass is now much closer. How does that feel? And I just want you to see it is going to start to feel very different. So how comfortable are we in challenging our balance? But balance is something that's very, very important for our everyday life. So take a moment to just stand and notice whether things are tensing up. So are we still breathing? Are we still able to relax and let go of those holding patterns? And how are my feet responding to having to stand so close together? So we'll do 3 good breaths. If you need to hold on to something, a chair or a table, please do so. And if you want to challenge yourself more, go ahead and try and close your eyes. So when we take away one of our senses, the deep postural muscles and your proprioceptive awareness have to work much, much harder to maintain your balance. So it's an easy way to challenge yourself, but just obviously be mindful if you're new to working on your balance and hold on as you need to. So we're going to try and stand on one leg when we're in an upright position. So remember, we're thinking about breathing, so we want to get nice and heavy down into the floor, so into our feet. We want to feel those shoulders melting into our back. Now, to stand on one leg, it's great if you can start to think about the weightiness of one side of your body. That's going to make you more stable. Remember, the weightiness gives you the stability. So as I start to feel heavier on the left side of my body, maybe this right foot can start to peel off the heel and then peel off the whole leg. And then I'm going to put it back down. Remember, I can hold on if I need to. Okay, so don't struggle. If this is new to you, hold on. So again, now can I transfer and feel heavy on the right side so that my left leg could lift up. Now you notice that my feet are wobbling. It's not that you are going to have a static foot, and that's not something you'd want anyway. We want a foot that's mobile but stable, and that means I need my feet muscles to be working. So when they're doing this on the floor, that means they're working. And if you're someone who has very hypermobile ankle joints, this is a great way of strengthening those ankle joints. Now, if you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you can start to add some arm movements as well. So when you feel ready to progress, add in those arms. Last one. So there we have a little introduction to some balance exercises. Now the final element is posture. Now posture is something that is not necessarily taught. I mean, I can tell you how to stand up straight and tell you what a good posture should look like, but again, it's something that should be felt. It should be learnt within the body, because it can't really be something that's artificial, because it would be too much hard work for the body to maintain. But if through all of these exercises, we've started to get some awareness of how we should be integrating with the ground, how our body should be organized, then our posture starts to emerge from this well integrated and organized body. So how do we start to even think about that? It's such a big concept. So again, for standing posture, think about your feet. So what are your feet doing? Are you aware of your feet into the ground? I talk a lot about feet because your feet are like the foundations of a building. If they're stable and strong, the rest of the building is going to be strong. You're not going to have cracks and collapses appearing in your building. You're going to be strong and connected from the ground up. So really, really essential that footwork is part of your exercise routine. So let me just turn sideways so you can see what happens when we talk about how the feet impact the posture. So when I'm not thinking about my feet, I'll probably find my stability further up the chain, which would probably involve locking my knees. So as you see, when I lock my knees, my body weight is instantly shifted forward and I pretty much hang through my lumbar spine onto my hips. And this was certainly a posture that I adopted for pretty much most of my life until I learnt all of these techniques and understood my body when I started my journey of movement. So not a great posture. I'm not really working, I'm just hanging. Now, when I start to think about the pressure dropping down through my feet, like those foundations, almost going through the surface of the mat, down into the ground underneath me, all of a sudden my feet become very active, and that almost pulls me back into this alignment. My knees are no longer locked. So we can move from hanging and locking. Think about roots almost drawing your feet down into the ground, and it literally lifts you back up, and you start to feel the lift that your feet can give you. You'll notice how that changes the posture in my lumbar spine as well. So again, we can hinge forward, we can really let that go, and then we can start to feel the drawing down of the feet that lifts us back up. So the feet play a huge part in our overall posture. So the feet are strong and integrated into the ground, which then literally lifts the whole body up. We've come to the conclusion of your first class with the Zebra Club, and I do hope you enjoyed it. We covered all the underlying principles that are in all of the classes in the Zebra Club. The Zebra Club is categorized into specific topics, so you can pick and choose topics that are suitable to you on any particular day. And I'll be with you every step of the way, guiding you and explaining all the exercises as we go through. So I do hope you'll be joining us, and if you'd like any further information, please click on the frequently asked questions boxes. Thank you so much.